And we are live for round 2 of Game Haven FNM.
Yep.
Where you can get more for your...
You get the most for your games,
Yeah.
I would say.
I'm not a scientist on that subject.
A fun fact here at Game Haven, when they first opened up, they would take almost anything.
I believe it.
For a trade. Like, anything. It was crazy. Now, pretty much just Magic cards and video games.
Right,
but, yeah.
So, anyway, great store. We got 26 players tonight, 5 rounds.
Yeah.
We don't know the prize payouts quite yet. I'll let you guys know when we know. But what we got going on here is
Eric
Schiro, who has been on camera before.
Yeah.
He's a regular. He's pretty good player. Then we have Logan Dice, who is, in fact, the winner of, I believe, the last 2 tournaments they've had here.
Yeah, he won the Modern tournament last week. And then he won the Standard tournament before then.
Yeah, so he's on a heater.
Yeah, undefeated on camera.
Yep.
Yeah.
A notorious mono red player.
Red mage.
Yeah.
I call him Red Apprentice.
This is actually, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
This is his first Standard rotation. He started playing during the last Standard season. So this is the first time he's ever had to build a new deck.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So that's interesting. Eric Schiro, a veteran of the game.
Yeah.
So we know what they're both playing. Eric wins the die roll. He'll be going first.
Yeah.
He's playing, green-white aggro.
Okay.
It is nothing like outrageous. It's got Fleecemane Lions.
Okay.
It's got Spear of Heliod.
Okay.
The new glorious anthem that can also kill guys.
Right.
And it's got
probably voice.
Yeah, I mean it's got all the good green
right.
white. It's doesn't go all that big. It's kind of mid-rangey, but it's fast. Should be good. I mean, it's got big creatures at every point on the curve.
Right.
Logan is playing some variant of mono red. I don't know his exact list.
When we were talking to Joe before the round, he said it was a pretty stock mono red list. So I'm guessing it's going to be a bunch of 4-Hours, 4 Shock, 4 Searing Spears.
Okay.
He's going to top out
or Lightning Strikes, but
well, yeah. And he will top out at Chandra's Phoenix and Boros Reckoner.
That's probably.
I know for a fact he had Boros Reckoner in his deck, and I'm pretty sure he has Chandra's Phoenix.
Okay.
And then some number of Mutapults.
Okay.
So,
yeah. So I think that deck's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that Red's in a good spot. I'm a little concerned for Logan in this matchup. It looks like Shiro's going down to 6 cards.
Right.
In that, like I said, Eric's deck is a lot of 3/3s for 2. A lot of 4/4s for 3.
Yeah. Guys that are okay if they die.
Yeah.
You know,
and there's no Pillar Flame in the format anymore.
Not no more.
So, it used to be that the mono red decks actually had like one of the better matchups against the Voice of Resurgence decks.
Yeah, because
they got to play like main deck Pillar of Flame.
Right.
That's no longer the case. Now they might be one of the worst position decks against these Voice of Resurgence decks.
Yeah,
they just don't have a good way to remove it, and it can block twice. Even if that's all it does, it's really good in this matchup.
Yeah, traditionally, a Voice of Resurgence type card would be extremely strong against mono red.
And Schiro starts with what might be a Soldier of the Pantheon.
Yep. Whenever a player plays a multicolored spell, Eric can opt to gain 1 life.
And it has protection from multicolored.
Interesting.
Which is good against Boros Reckoner.
And Rakdos Cackler and Burning Tree Emissary. So, Logan not having a 1-drop, which is not ideal for him. I think he's looking for an Ash Zealot or some sort of Burning Tree.
Or a Burning Tree start, if he's playing the Burning Tree package. And that is a...
Imposing Sovereign?
Imposing Sovereign. Not as good... potentially against these mono red decks as it was in the previous season where the decks were really hasty.
Mm-hmm.
Logan stuck on 1 land.
So Logan kept a 1-lander and no 1-drop. So he drew the Foundry Street then.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm anticipating he probably has maybe a Burning Tree package start in his hand where if he hit the 2nd land, he could have had that real explosive turn. He's got something.
Okay,
maybe he kept on like the strength of Boros Reckoners. You got to figure he's got something.
Something that he can use to just like.
It looks like a burn spell in his hand, maybe.
Yeah. So Logan probably does not have any creatures, or else he would have played them before combat.
Let's see what we got here. Nope, there's the Burning Tree Emissary.
Yeah, Logan definitely missed out on some damage there. He should have played this Burning Tree.
Yeah.
Prior to combat, just to get the buff from.
So he kept the Burning Tree package.
Yeah.
It might be a little late now. Schiro is getting into like Advent of the Worm territory.
Right.
His deck goes fairly big.
Wow.
But That is a start.
Yeah,
you can see the appeal of keeping the one-lander there.
But it's unfortunate Logan missed on 3 points of damage.
Yeah.
It's interesting he chose to unleash the Chainwalker. Obviously, he's not going to be wanting to play defense.
No.
So
the deck does not play defense particularly well. I think what I thought was a Magma Jet was actually that Gorehouse Chainwalker. So
right, yeah, the art looks pretty similar.
Yeah. So now this is the Logan could be right back in this game if Schiro doesn't have a big follow-up, and he does not.
So if Logan has any number of burn spells, he can start picking off Shiro's guys and start attacking.
The issue, of course, is that the Burning Tree Emissaries are
multicolored.
Yeah. So he really wants a burn spell to. He's got a handful of cards, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of red spells in his hand.
He is just He's just serving in with the guys that are not blanked by that soldier.
Right.
Schiro willing to make some blocks here.
Yeah.
Preserve his life total. He's at a reasonable high life total. Ooh, is that a main deck Brave the Elements?
Yeah,
that's a blowout.
That's not good for Logan dice.
Man, Brave the Elements is really well positioned right now. Schiro obviously has them.
Okay, so in response to the Brave Elements, Logan's going to
play an old school Magma Jet, it looks like, and Scry.
Yeah, he's going to burn the multicolor, which I agree with.
Oh, that's a good use. That's when to do it. He bottoms both cards.
Yeah, and his Burning Tree Emissaries can start getting busy.
Okay, so not as bad of a turn for Logan as it could have been. If Shiro's out of gas, which it looked like he may have been, and then he windmill slams a Fiend Slayer Paladin.
So never mind.
Schiro is with a good rip there, right back. I don't know how Logan main deck beats Fiend Slayer Paladin.
It's possible. It's going to involve some number of Firefish Strikers, I think.
Firefish Striker's a good one.
Chandra's Phoenix.
Boros Reckoner is not even the worst here.
No.
But Schiro pays 2 life here. Wow. Meaning he's got a 4-drop that he likes a lot. Is that a Heliod? Perhaps Joe can give us a hand. That is a Heliod, God of the Sun.
And his devotion is not quite high enough for it. Yeah.
What does Heliod do for people who may not be?
Well, it's indestructible, like all the gods are.
Yep.
As long as your devotion to white is less than 5, it is not a creature.
Right.
All your creatures have vigilance, which is going to be
really good here,
especially with the Fiend Slayer Paladin. And then 2 mana and 2 white, put a 2/1 white cleric enchantment creature token into the battlefield.
Pretty good.
And it's a 5/6, by the way.
So what we happened here is another Magma Jet took out another one of Shiro's guys, and a Reckoner joins the team. Now, Reckoner's a big deal here.
Right.
Because
that's a lockdown spider.
Man. Like I said, this is how I kind of thought this matchup might go.
Yeah.
Shiro's just big men. And that's what this green-white deck has always done. It was a deck for a little while last season. Yeah, never as big of a deck as some people thought it might be.
Right.
But all its guys are so big. It doesn't gain the life like it used to necessarily, but it doesn't necessarily have to against these red decks, because sometimes the best way to beat these red decks is to play a 3/3 for 2 and a 4/4 for 3. Yeah. That looks like a Phoenix.
And that's an ideal draw from he can start getting some damage in.
And Boros Reckoner can hold the ground pretty well from here, even against that Boro or that Loxodon Smiter.
So I think one of Shiro's game plans he can do here is just load up his board, draw Brave the Elements, and just get the game.
And just get the game.
Yeah, I think
that's not going to take much more.
No,
realistically.
And Schiro does have his devotion away, so he's getting with the 5/6 under.
Thinking about just feeding it a Burning Tree Emissary.
Yeah, it's not going to do much else in this matchup. So Chump Blocky is not the worst.
And my first response was to say maybe you just take the damage, but he's got to be worried about that Brave of the Elements Alpha Strike. Yeah. So I think that was a good block.
Yeah, and Logan's probably digging for another Phoenix or another evasive type of effect.
Looks like we're just going to see a burn spell here.
Nope. Just kidding, he says. I think that's a fire drinker.
Looks like a fire drinker.
Yeah.
Perhaps our table spotter could get that board moved over a little bit. There we go. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. So not the best point in the game for a fire drinker.
No, but I mean, since it's Jackal is 2.0, right?
Right.
So
certainly a much better top deck than a Jackal Pup would be.
Right.
It does 4 damage on its own. That's an end of the turn Advent of the Worm.
So Schiro does not have his devotion anymore. I don't think.
I think you might be correct.
So he's looking for some sort of white permanent, whatever that may be, so he can start attacking with his 5/6 and getting his clock back online. He doesn't. Obviously, he's not going to attack the Fiendslayer Paladin to a Boros Reckoner, but this Advent of the Worm
can get right in.
Right.
Now, Logan does have the option of trading the Boros Reckoner for the Advent of the Worm. It's not the best. It's also he has the option of blocking the Boros Reckoner there and killing like the Smiter. I mean, the Boros Reckoner is still a pretty good card for this board state.
It's going to be really important that Logan finds the best use for his Boros Reckoner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because right now it's not attacking or
found a
blocking,
worm token. That's
so it needs to be doing something.
Exactly. The old running the old no attacks, no blocks.
So I think Logan did block with his Boros Reckoner. He moved it. I don't know if that means he's blocking. Maybe he didn't. Logan might be maybe trying to set up like first strike and a burn spell.
He
so maybe
does not
he
have
wants
the mana for that play though.
Well, if you could have a shock.
The first strike.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean the following turn.
Oh yeah.
So he does block and he kills the
Fiendslayer, which he can do because it's not protection from red.
Right.
It just can't be targeted by red spells. So that's actually a pretty good way of getting the Fiendslayer Paladin off the board.
Are you sure it's not red spells and abilities?
I'm pretty confident just red spells. Perhaps our table spotter could confirm that.
I'm pretty sure that it must be spells only then.
I'm pretty sure it's spells.
Red and black
spells. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. That's Joe, our content manager, doing great work as always from the table side.
Making us sound smarter than we're letting us know what cards do that have been in standard already.
Forever.
Yeah.
It's really helpful because to have somebody knowledgeable there at the table because of course the new Theros cards.
Exactly.
So Logan is brawling, right? Like it really feels like he should be out of this game by now, and he's not yet.
Yeah.
So he's made some good decisions, I think, with how he's choose to use the resources that he had.
Right.
Of course, Schiro has this. It's a Fleecemane Lion coming down with enough to monstrous it.
Fascinating.
It is a pretty good card. It's a 3/3 for 3 that maybe we could check what its monstrous cost is. It's gold.
It's gold. That's why it's not on my page.
When it goes monstrous, it becomes indestructible and hexproof, which is a pretty powerful combination.
Seems fine. Oh, okay, yeah, it's this guy. So this might be a problem.
What does it cost to go monstrous? Yeah, 5. That's what I thought. So it is in monstrous range.
Yeah, he can afford that on the next turn. Although it died.
Okay, that's you want to get it off there for sure.
Yeah. So,
got the lightning strike on the lion.
Yeah, Schiro didn't have enough mana to make it monstrous to give it hexproof, so Logan took that opportunity to lightning strike it.
Absolutely.
Obviously, which is very important. But it looks like Schiro is going to be able to punch through.
The issue, of course, is
damage.
That the
vigilance is
and the Satyr is just not an effective blocker. Which we may see it block. Okay. They're looking at his options, but those guys are just real big. They're just real big. So it'll be interesting to see what Logan may have access to. Mizium Mortars, if he's got it, would be very good here.
Yep. You can see them right there. Flames of the Firebrand seems like a very good
card. And if he has any other evasive or quasi-evasive guys, there's not a Stormbreath Dragon would be good here.
Yeah.
If he's got it. Anger, if he had Anger the Gods, I would board out my 1-drops and bring in Anger the Gods in this matchup. I don't know if he's got it. Schiro is going to have access to more Fiendslayers if he doesn't start the full 4.
Right.
He's got more Brave the Elements if he doesn't start the full 4.
Mm-hmm.
Those seem like the best cards he could have in this particular matchup. He may even have Unflinching Courage.
Right, yeah, which obviously put him on time. It looks like he's looking at Selesnya Charm right now. I thought about it. That's not the worst.
Not the worst. I don't think it's particularly good here, but it's certainly not the worst.
You might just bring it as like a surprise.
Sure, absolutely. As a quasi-removal spell. He isn't going to play a lot of removal spells.
Right.
So that's something to think about.
Logan, if Schiro has 2 mana up past Logan, I think he has the opportunity to make a very aggressive play.
Right.
And then
it coming down and surprise blocking a Fire Drinker Satyr is a pretty good line.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I wonder if Logan brought in those Flames of the Fire. Because if I were Logan, I think if he had some sort of evasive cards to bring in, if he could board into Madcap skills or
Madcap skills would be good here.
Yeah.
I like bringing in the burn because you realize you might be leaning really hard on your Chandra's Phoenix, and just having more burn, even to let you block 3 or 4 turns with the Phoenix, is powerful.
Right.
And you know that the board's going to get clogged up eventually, and having the reach might be what you need to do.
Yeah.
And of course, with Soldier of the Pantheon being pretty good against you, Flame seems like a pretty good answer there as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Of course, Logan being on the play here is really relevant. If he starts, if he has an explosive, if he goes turn 1 1-drop, turn 2 Burn Entry Emissary into a 2-drop, and has a Firefish Striker or something, Shiro's under the gun. This matchup is certainly not a foregone conclusion.
No. Yeah.
Although that first game went pretty much how I would expect game 1 to go, with the red deck on the draw, especially. I think that Logan has. Shiro's not going to be particularly good at playing from behind with this deck. Mm-hmm. If he gets under the gun a Firefish Striker into a Boros Reckoner type curve, he doesn't have a good way to catch back up. He can play another big guy. That's really all he's got is one big guy at a time.
It looks like Logan did board outs some number of the Fire Drinker.
Yeah.
So he might be trying to play some sort of control-ish game.
The Fire Drinker is really good against decks that aren't going to block him for 2 or 3 turns. This is probably not one of those matchups.
Sure to block immediately.
Yeah. Starting on turn 2, he can he doesn't even have to trade.
I don't think Logan will take out all of his Striker. You want a first turn play,
especially on the play.
Right. So
on the draw, I might consider cutting them all.
Yeah. So this leads me to believe Logan's playing 12 1-drops.
I think that's correct. We saw Foundry Street Denizen.
Right.
So I would think that we have all 12.
Yeah.
I like Foundry Street Denizen reasonably well.
Yeah. I think people view it as a super all-in kind of card, but really you just want it to be a Savannah Lions most of the time. Yeah.
It's just fine. It's Savannah Lion. Looks like there might be a 1-lander.
I see
a Burning Tree Emissary.
And
he might be tempted.
I think if he kept that hand on the draw, he definitely has to keep it here.
Yeah.
I don't think Logan makes much sense.
I don't know how many lands he plays. If you got 21 lands left in the deck, I might consider it.
He's doing it.
He's got the 1-drop.
I like this a lot.
And the Burning Tree Emissary.
This is awesome. So if
he draws a land here, he's playing.
Obviously.
He wants it real bad. He got it. All right, now we're playing Magic, guys.
So please play your guys' move. Okay, all right. 1 trigger. 2 trigger.
Oh yeah.
3 trigger.
That's a Gorehouse Chainwalker Unleash. Swing for 4.
Okay.
This is the kind of start we were just talking about. Now Schiro can play 1 guy, right?
Yeah.
And which he does have the 2-drop. If he didn't have the 2-drop, he's probably just dead, right?
That is not the ideal 2-drop.
What is it?
It's the Fleeceman line, and
he's got the removal spell. He cannot attack fast enough.
Yep. Well, I think that was actually a fine keep by Logan. It was a little risky, but
you realize what you have to do to win this game, right?
Right.
And that's the kind of hand that you need.
Yes.
Going down to 6 and keeping a hand that doesn't have a 1-drop or doesn't have the Burning Tree start, it's just not going to work.
I think ideally Eric was looking for a Paladin.
Yes.
But the Smiter's not too good. That's 1 trigger, spearing you, get in with the rest of the guys, and that's ball game.
The Firefish Striker would have been better. But he didn't need it. Like I said, that's the fear with these green white decks.
Yeah, the Burning Tree.
If you get ahead,
you're
gonna stay ahead because you play just a bigger guy at every point on the curve. If you get behind, only thing you can do is play 1 creature a turn.
Right.
And when the red deck's playing 4 creatures in a turn,
they get these affinity type draws.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Where they just dump their hand. It's like there's not enough time in the world to try to recover from that.
It's just one of those situations where when you're playing against that kind of start, you feel like you just were never.
Right.
Like your deck just doesn't have a draw that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's even worse. Eric didn't have a 1-drop because theoretically, if
I don't know how many 1-drops he pulled. Well, he probably plays 8.
the militant and
the soldier.
the soldier. Yeah.
I think that's probably pretty likely. Okay,
so it's not a bad game plan from Eric is to like use his early his like lower casting cost creatures as like removal spells.
Yep, absolutely.
Because Eric has some cards that can give him decent late game.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the god, because he can just pump out guys, right?
That god is so, and the spear.
Yeah.
And the combination of the god and the spear.
Yeah,
like
obviously, yeah. So that might be that's probably what we wanted to have happen that game. Is like have a 1-drop, have a 2-drop, have a 3-drop, and ideally the paladin.
Go into the mid game with 12 or 15 life and just feel like you're in pretty good shape.
Right. And then at that point Logan needs to respond with some number of Chandra's Phoenix's, Boros Reckoners.
Right.
Eric
really wants to dictate the pace of this game.
Yes.
He wants to be there's a very specific place where he wants to be on, like, say, turn 4 or turn 5.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 15 or more life with a developed board, and Logan's out of gas. And that can happen. We saw it happen game 1.
Yeah.
Logan, they played a fairly long game. Logan emptied his hand into getting Schiro down to 12 or so life.
Right.
Some good dice spinning.
Yeah, Logan's really good at spinning.
And
the man knows how to play mountains and spin dice.
Yep. And what more do you need?
When you play mountains, you often like roll dice theoretically, and that's what he did on the second game. It paid off.
Logan's last name, of course, is Dice. So.
Oh, that's hilarious!
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. That's awesome.
So we'll see here now. Like we said before, the play is a big deal in this matchup.
Right.
And we'll see. Logan. I didn't see Logan go back to the board. Shiro's once again mulliganing on the play.
Yeah.
Something that you see a lot of these mono red decks do, depending on how their sideboard is configured, is that they'll, on the draw, board out some 1-drops.
Mm-hmm.
And on the play, they go up to all 12 or however many they have.
Yeah.
And on the draw, they'll take them out for more burn spells. Or, sometimes they go a little bigger.
Right.
Board in maybe a land and some Stormbreath Dragons,
mm-hmm.
or, some 4-drops. It used to be 4-drops. Now it's you don't have the Hell Riders and stuff anymore.
Yeah, and what's interesting in formats where Jackal Pup was legal, the red decks would often opt to draw against each other.
Yeah.
Because it was more of a grindy matchup. You had things like Curse Scroll, Wasteland, Russian Import. So it'll be interesting if having a card
and
Necro.
And Necropotence.
I forgot about that guy. Yeah.
That little card.
Refresh memories. So it'll be interesting if having a Jackal Pup type card back in the format will make those games.
Logan has the 1-drop. To Shiro's no 1-drop. I'll set on them all to 6.
Yeah, so Schiro definitely just wants a big old 2-drop.
And
that's not the worst one.
Which one is that?
That's the Imposing Sovereign.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So he's going to be able to...
Imposing Sovereign couldn't camp block fast enough.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely, we talked about that.
Yeah.
And Imposing Sovereign was really good against like the Lightning Mauler type draws, which don't
mm-hmm.
exist anymore. Right. So...
yeah, if I were Logan, I think I would have waited and tried to get Battalion.
That's possible.
Yeah, But okay, so he had a decent
he has
amount
Battalion. He Battalion in the can.
Right. Yeah. So, and then Wowzers.
Okay.
So.
And if he's got a burn spell or 2 in his hand,
if Schiro just has the god, that's not going to do it.
Yep.
He's going to be able to get the Battalion trigger and.
What a Fiend Slayer or a Paladin would be good.
Scavenging Ooze.
Scavenging Ooze is good.
Okay. He's going to gain 2 life here.
And be a 4/4. Yep.
Yeah, that was a huge attempt to get the momentum back in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the kind of cards that he needs here. That instant on life gain is good. And here we talked about this.
There's a card on the mat to the right of Logan. I don't know.
It's an exiled card.
I'm sorry. Okay.
That's how he's chosen to represent his exile zone.
Okay, that's fine.
Turn 4, Shiro's at 22 life. This is the kind of start we talked about that Schiro really needed to really preserve that life total.
Yeah.
Logan is threatening to pump that fire.
Yeah, and he gets 3 damage. And Logan not afraid.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man, I think that's a pretty good card.
He gets a +1/+.
No, he's just marking it.
Oh, I see. Okay. I was like, man, that card's good. So, if Logan had a burn spell there, that would have been Well, specifically a Searing Spear.
Although,
or not Searing
depending
Spear,
on what Shiro's got in his hand, can't tap fast enough.
Yeah,
monstrous.
Make that guy a 4/4 and hex.
Now he's got 2 4/4s, and that one is hexproof, which is a big deal because it can't be Mizium mortared.
Right. So now Logan has to attempt to overload Elysium Mortars.
Yes, which would be very powerful.
Right.
Of course, just Elysium mortaring the Scavenging Ooze, well,
Oh, yeah, that'd be plenty good, too.
see if he can just windmill slam a Stormbreath Dragon here.
Or something.
I want to see a Stormbreath Dragon tonight. It is
another Chainwalker.
Another Chainwalker.
So he's just adding to his board.
So let's see. Logan swings out. He does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage. Blocks 2. Yeah, he does not have a good attack here.
Right.
Which the attacks aren't going to get any better.
Right.
He really needs a Elysium Mortar.
He might want to wait till the point where he can pump his Firefish Striker up to a reasonable power.
A Fire Drinker Shatter.
What did I say?
Firefish Striker.
Yes.
Striker would also be good.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a Chandra's Phoenix.
Okay. So
we can start. Now, Chandra's Phoenix not the best against Scavenging Ooze, but Schiro doesn't play a lot of removal, so it's not like it's likely to die.
Or any way to block flying creatures.
Right, and there's a Smiter, so, Chandra's Phoenix might be really good here.
Yeah,
with the board as clogged up as it is, and at this point, if the game now Logan has Overload mana, if he draws a Elysium Mortars here, he's starting to wrath the board and probably win on the spot.
Win the game. You're right.
So
a Mutavault from Schiro. I think Schiro probably flooded out pretty quick. Okay,
yes.
So Fiend Slayer Paladin.
Fiend Slayer is very, very good.
If Logan wanted to, he could. Yeah, but then again, he's not interested in killing any creatures because of the life gain from the Scavenging Ooze, and the Ooze itself will get bigger.
Right, exactly.
So
basically, he just wants Elysium Mortars Overload or bust.
Right.
Well, so he's thinking about casting a spell.
It's not clear that Logan would bring in the Elysium Mortars, but I think it's very good.
When you see Smiters, you bring in
that's
Elysium
like
Mortars.
the clearest sign, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you pretty much have to attack with a Phoenix, so it's not going to block, right?
Right, yeah. You don't want to run the no attacks, no blocks. All right, he's really no land.
Okay. And it doesn't hurt to play it because
both
could be
players
useful.
flooded a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, when you have Fire Drinkers and overloaded Elysium Mortars and stuff, there's certainly an argument to be made for holding the land, but
yeah. Oh,
he's alphaing here.
Okay.
He did some quick napkin math.
Okay. Well, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. So obviously, the lion's going to get monstrous on the Firefish Striker.
Here's the concern that I have. Logan's actually dead on the swing back.
Oh.
Because the ooze grows.
Right. And Schiro also has a Mutavault.
So we'll see how this attack shakes out, but if Schiro did that math, then Logan is just dead right here.
Yeah, because that's 6. Yeah, he's dead on the swing back. And Logan's going to take damage from the...
Now, the situation being there, you think maybe the game's not getting any better for you, and he got Eric to 3, so,
that's okay.
Yeah, he realized he's just dead on the counterattack. Yeah. I think that there's an argument to be made that you hang in there and hope to draw the Elysium Mortars.
I think so.
If you have it in your deck.
Yeah.
Maybe this is some sign that he didn't board him in.
Right.
Maybe he realized that he needed a Elysium Mortars, didn't have access to it, and just wasn't really in it.
I'm surprised Logan didn't hang in there, because he could have gotten another Phoenix.
No, he had the Mortars.
Yeah, I don't think I like scooping in that spot.
Yeah, I mean, you had live draws.
Right.
If a situation occurred where if Schiro blocked poorly, you kill him with like the Fire Drinker or something.
Yeah.
I don't think the game was that desperate yet.
No, I don't
necessarily.
Think so. No, he was right in it, I think.
Sometimes you're in a situation where your only out is a bad block or something.
Right.
And you got to play to that out. But I don't think that was his only out. It was a little aggressive. It's possible he did the math wrong and realized that like mid combat that happens.
Yeah. If you've never played with cards like Jackal before, it was a little tricky.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's very also possible that he just thought, I'm not against Scavenging Ooze and that Paladin. I can't win the long game.
Right.
Yeah, I just have to try to. Well, he's still in reach. I just have to, do that. If you're gonna do that, I think holding the land is a good idea because you're threatening perhaps like a lightning strike or something.
Right. I don't think Logan should have conceded though.
Yeah. He was still in it. I think that
another Phoenix would have helped. Any sort of burn spell. Obviously, the Overload Mizzing Ward.
Yes, that would have been. It would have won the game on the spot.
Yeah, I don't like seeing it. But then again, maybe Logan knows something we don't.
Yeah,
so
possible.
Yeah.
So that was round 2. Eric Schiro wins 2-1 over Logan Dice. Green-white. We'll call green-white aggro. Plays 8-1 drops. So we'll call it green-white aggro. Takes down the stock Burning Tree Emissary mono red style build.
Yep.
So check back with us round 3, and thanks for watching live from Game Haven in Riverside, Ohio.
Get more for your games.